Okay, ready? What up, you lab rats? This is episode number 26. And today we're talking about refining your business services. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the lab. My name is Megan.
And I'm Kevin.
And let's get in the lab. Okay, so how are you, B?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. You just came back from a meeting. How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was my first time marketing our new software called hashtag printing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so what it's hashtag printing, and basically what that does is if you use Instagram, you know that you can hashtag anything and it takes you to either a specific hashtag, either at an event that you're at or something. So basically what this software does, it's sort of like a photo booth, but it's like an open air type of photo booth where the guests will take this custom hashtag that we've made, and they'll use that hashtag every time they take a picture when they're at that event.
You're turning your phone into a photo booth.
Yeah, basically. So
Right?
it's like a private photo booth for yourself, and it automatically prints. So
It's nice. It like ties right into our culture nowadays. We're so Instagram crazy right now, and we have that instant gratification where you get a printout now, and it even has all the notes you were
what's
saying.
cool about it is that a lot of couples sort of complain that there's so many people, so many of their guests, while they're saying a toast, everyone's at the photo booth line. So hash printing is a little bit more on the safe side, where everyone's still seated and they can take their Instagram image from where they're seated. So nothing's obtrusive or anything.
On the safe side? What do you mean?
So basically they don't need to run up when someone's saying a toast.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, they're not like intruding anyone, interfering with the toast or something.
Actually, yeah, that is an issue because I was talking to the lady, one of our clients, and she was like, okay, so if I want to bring people back to the main program of my wedding, I don't want people at the photo booth when they're trying to, participate.
Exactly.
So that's really cool. That's nice.
Yeah, that's the cool feature about the hashtag printing.
All right, that's exciting. That's cool. So we'll be marketing that on Snap It and all that stuff. All right, cool. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about refining your business services. And the reason why we're talking about this is because we had a really nice conversation about clean media and the fact that, that business on that end is kind of expanding, and I'm trying to figure out where my strengths and my weaknesses are and what exactly I want to offer, because the biggest kind of issue that I saw right away was and I'm not, dogging on my client right now. And I was kind of afraid to make this episode because I didn't want it to be too closely scrutinized or whatever, but I don't care. It's just honest, feedback for myself.
Yeah.
And if my client happens to watch this episode, I think that's good. I mean, I'm not holding back anything for what I can offer and stuff. I'm just making notes, and I'm seeing what I can do on that front on clean media. Yeah. So,
well, before we dive in, we'll start with the couple 1, 2, 3 tag.
Okay.
So we're on number 3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So the question is, have you had to make an important decision that affected the direction of your life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty it's similar to number 2.
Similar to the last one.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to answer that one, or do you?
Yeah, the most important decision that affected my life was the turning point of either going forward with nursing or going forward with photography. So that was probably halfway through in my nursing program. I had a meltdown where I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like,
you had a meltdown?
No, not really, but but I was a little confused what career path I wanted to choose.
Yeah.
Was I choosing passion, or was I choosing the salary and what nurses make? But yeah, I chose passion. I chose happiness over being, tucked away in the hospital for 12 hours.
And you also found that, I remember having that conversation with you many times, even though the nursing field is thought to be very safe and all of this stuff, there's all these things that kind of draw people to go to nursing, and that's why it's so saturated. But the more that you looked at it, you saw that the salary wasn't even worth it anymore because of the hours and the kind of job it is. You really have to love it.
Yeah, you really have to love it. And I remember one of my professors said that there's a lot of young people in this classroom. Usually people don't know that they want to be nurses until they actually have their first career, and then they'll go back to school for nursing. And yeah, and she was right. It wasn't for me, but it was a good way to test out the waters and see if the hospital environment was for me.
Yeah. So, okay. So
how about for you?
An important decision that affected the direction of my life. Probably, well, do you have anything other than that affected the direction of your life? I mean, that's a big one. That's an obvious one. We've already talked about that one. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
No, that's mainly it.
All right. Let's see.
Other than, I mean, last month when you you took initiative and we made you as like sort of the PR for Kevin Levu Photography. That's another shift.
When you let me go shooting. Yeah.
That's another big shift in, I mean, as our life and our companies.
I'm sure, we talked about that, 100 times over, but I think that's really important because like you can easily get stuck in the routine of running your business because as long as you're making sales, you're not really motivated that much to make, drastic changes such as that, like me leaving shooting. That's a big change in the shift of the structure of our business. So making that change based on not making, making more sales eventually, but more based on the fact that, for everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's like really important for people to kind of remind themselves because the money that can be like, you just get in the habit of making money and yes, you're making sales and stuff like that and everything's working, nothing's broken. However, if you're not truly happy, if you're not truly happy, then what is it all for?
Yeah.
Like what's it all for working so hard? And, like things start to kind of pile on you and it feels heavier now. The task feels heavier because you're not happy. And I think that really put a spring in like both of our step because if I'm happy, you don't have to worry about that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. If your partner's unhappy, like you feel that burden, you feel that energy dip, and it affects you eventually. Yeah, it may not affect you like right away, but it'll affect you. It'll bother you. And so I think that's definitely a massive change that we made, like a decision that we both made that really affected our business and our life.
So what affected the direction of your life?
When I decided to let go of all of my like previous beliefs about how I should live my life, which was like, I was so set on getting a job in the county with benefits. Like I remember like that's why I got a job with the county with benefits because that's all I was focusing on. I remember
having that conversation is because we couldn't afford health insurance. We couldn't insurance was expensive. Even auto insurance, just everyday living expense.
Yeah, and when I started to like surround myself with materials and like media, like movies, even like documentaries that kind of said otherwise and really kind of opened my eyes as to, or do you really think you're safe? What is the safety and security that you're after? Is it really there? Like Social Security and benefits. What is that really? And is that really going to make you happy? Are you happy? Right?
Yeah.
So when I made that decision, I let that go. I let that old belief system go, and I adopted a new belief, which was work for myself. And so that drastically affected everything. And that's why we're here. That's why I'm here anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's start tuning into our major topic today.
All right. So on today's topic, so we were last night, probably just should have recorded that thing, but let's rehash it. Let's relive it. So Clean Media, my personal branding company, that I've taken on my first kind of official client. I've had other clients before, but they weren't official. They weren't on the books. And so Clean Media is now like it's all legitimized and everything now. And that's the kind of cool transitional step that I think
it's the first step.
Yeah, business owners go through, like, filing the paperwork. Everything's on paper now for the new year. And so all of that's pretty exciting, but there were a few kind of tips that you were giving to me.
Yeah, so I basically addressed, because you had a lot of questions. You were just throwing me a bunch of things.
I was just telling you what I was doing.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that I was asking you questions indirectly.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was just pointing out several things that, Jeff Kogo, right? Mm-hmm. And Jeff wanted her to do technical marketing.
Well, we had an agreement where it's like, it's kind of beyond the scope of what I laid out and what I expected to do as a service provider in this particular project. But it was fine because it's, for one thing, it's like I was telling you, I wanted to see what I can do as well. Like he told me, and I already know that he's kind of testing me.
Yeah. And what are these specific things you're currently doing for
a lot of it is marketing, it's copywriting, it's really pushing my creative kind of itch, which I like. I like that. I really like that he's like, go do it.
And then
and
currently,
like, okay.
What's stepping over the things that you already know and what you've done?
I don't think anything's stepping over. What do you mean?
So what are your other abilities that like making that website? Or you?
Okay, so there was talk of other things that he wanted to rebrand and for me to kind of lay my hand on, other projects that weren't outlined in the scope of this work. Yeah. Which I'm fine including on some levels, that's fine, but like I had to know where to draw the line at where, realizing what I'm worth and what I'm willing to do to prove myself.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where refining comes into play.
Right.
So you have to kind of draw that line.
Right, and figuring out where to draw that line. And I know that, we're both being very professional in this manner, and it's kind of just, it's an experimentation. So nothing is like black and white. So
yeah, I mean, business in general is experimenting. And an example that I told Megan yesterday when we had this talk was that when I first started photography, I would spend hours on photographing an engagement session. So that's where I would like pull out the couple and they'll choose their 2 favorite locations. And normally it's 2 hours, but I would photograph for 6 hours. Yeah. That's because I was starting out and I was having fun with it. Time was not an issue. But it did exhaust them.
Exhausted your clients.
But I would say it was a time for me to step up my game, time for me to hone in my craft. Yeah. And know what things I didn't like about it and what things I can improve on. Yeah. So you refining your duties within clean media.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was so helpful because, and you also spoke of like, as you're kind of figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are and what you're good at and what you can refine and work on, that you make a system.
Yeah. You list those specific things down and you'll put like either a check mark or whatever that your strong points are, and then you circle those, and that's how you can create your first package, right? Services that you'll be providing,
right? Yeah, and for me, like for this project, it's a chance for me to push myself, and I'm actually having a lot of fun designing for Jeff and doing all these things because he's very like, you handle it, you go do it, and that's kind of like my ideal client. That is my ideal client. He challenges me to exercise all of these muscles that I haven't been challenged with, like creating launch campaigns and whether or not to include that in my own services. Yeah. And then as I'm listing all of these things and making notes as I work with this client, like it's going to be really great for me to create a sort of evergreen content that illustrates to people who come to Clean Media and they say, okay, what do you do? Now I have this whole list of things and I'm going to illustrate it through video or whatever, but it's evergreen. It's there. So now I don't have to like explain to everybody what I do and what I don't do. Or I'm not surprised as well when they go, can you do this or don't you do this? Like there's extreme clarity and it's concrete. It's there. Yeah.
And I mean, that's really good having a first client that pushes you.
Yeah, I love it.
Because you don't know what your limits are. Yeah. You don't know what potentially could happen and what you're good at. And like me, for example, some people would say, hey, before I never offered wedding albums or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, do you offer albums? I'm like, I didn't know you're supposed to offer albums.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know how to design them.
When was that?
I'm not sure, but but so yeah, you didn't even know you had these skills until you test them.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like I'm just finding all of these ways to, like, I don't know exactly how to do that. I have an inkling how to do that. I did that before and now I kind of forgot. And now I have to rehash those skills again, which is fine because it just kind of reinforces that memory muscle or muscle memory to do those skills again. And it just really pushes me. And so I think moving forward with every client, I would like to search for, because you have to apply, to work with clean media, search for clients that actually do push me and who would challenge me in that way. And I think to encourage other, people establishing their business or like from now on taking on new clients is that they look for those clients that can challenge them. They're the ideal client. Like they want to do that work and they want to see where they can push their own limits. Like creatively, you always do that for yourself.
Yeah.
But, when you start making money, you can get very comfortable in just doing the templated thing of whatever. I don't want to get too comfortable. I'd like to be pushed in that way because social media marketing changes every day.
Yeah.
Like Facebook just went through a random change last night and didn't tell anybody. So you have to be able to adjust with the times or else you get left behind.
Yeah. That's a nice quote that she made. So now that you're in this process and you're discovering that you're refining your business, what are some tips for people to learn when they're starting out like you?
I think you've got to be really honest with your client and just be clear and to be very confident in what you can do. So whatever, I don't ever promise a client that I can do something when I have no idea. I should have some kind of inkling. I should have some kind of background or something, just to make sure that I save my butt. Because if something goes wrong or if it's totally, if I assume something that's totally wrong, and just do it anyway, and that wasn't within the scope of the work, like I could be in trouble. And so I always want to work within, the understandings of our agreement. And so sometimes, and you have to have, you have to be able to read your client as well. Like your people skills should be up to par, on what levels that you can talk to them and work with them and what decisions that you can just make. Like I'm pretty comfortable that I can post certain things, without him even approving it, because of the relationship that we have built up until now. Okay. And so that's kind of really important. And I think when you can do that, it shows your initiative as a business person, and
your trust.
And trust, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd never make a decision where I'm just going to make a decision just because.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about him. I'm keeping him in mind, and what, I take a look at his previous post. Is it in line? Does it sound too weird? All of that stuff. So I'm keeping all of that in mind as I'm working with my client. And I think that's just always a really good tip, is to just really be considerate.
Yeah.
Like, would your client appreciate this? And are you upserving, right? Are you delivering more than what they paid? That's always great. I think that's always great. If you can deliver more than what they expected, you're going to be in their book for life. They're going to come back to you. So, that's a couple tips. And
yeah, I feel honesty is very truthful in business.
Yeah, there's no reason why.
Yeah, being very concise.
Yeah.
While you're speaking, or else, you don't want to overstep someone's boundaries or someone else's job that are currently doing that part.
Right. And it's kind of cool because I like the whole social media posting and stuff like that. I didn't include that in what I do, but look, now that's actually something that I can offer because I've had this test, right? So that's kind of cool. And he even he told his other person that he hired to do this to stop.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of cool. That's a great feedback. So pay attention to those things when they're telling you oh yeah, just go do it. that's an incredible amount of trust that he's placing within me, and I take that really seriously. So I want to take that responsibility and just do 110%.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's just very similar to a bride and groom trusting me to photograph their wedding day.
I love that when they say that. Go do it.
Yeah, go do it.
Yeah.
We trust your eye. That's why we hired you.
Eye,
So do your magic.
Yeah, look for clients like that, and always kind of think of yourself like, I don't think I'm so like haughty toddy where I'm not willing to prove myself to the client. So I think it's really, even though I say look for those clients who appreciate your work, and like there has to be kind of a balance that you have to find. So even though we're like, we're very confident in our work, we're not telling people like it's my way or the highway, right? There's like a balance. Mm-hmm. So,
Is there any questions today?
Yeah, we have some questions. Let me go on Twitter really quick. Okay. First question is from Dave Chesson, at Dave Chesson. What setup equipment do you guys use for your videos?
So our setup equipment is a 5D Mark III and a 16 to 24 millimeter lens. Mm-hmm. And we use Audio-Technica mics.
You're Audio-Technica. I'm Heil.
And you use a Heil, and we use a H4n to record.
Right.
And what softwares do you use?
I use Premiere to edit everything. I'll just bring in the audio and the video, and then I'll sync it up. We do a clap before each show. That way we sync up our audio to the video. And then, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple now. Like before, I had to figure all that shit out, but now it's like, bloop, bloop, bloop. I just drag everything. It's really easy. And this mic right here is about $47 probably now on Amazon. So $40 to $50 on Amazon. This is $300, okay? And they sound very, very similar.
Very similar. I mean, for $47, you really can't beat it. So.
Yeah. But I think what people are trying to like go for is this podcaster look, like this. Ooh, it's fancy, right?
Yeah.
It is fancy. Definitely like the quality of this microphone is very good. Mm-hmm. That one's very good. It just doesn't look as cool, probably, people would say. But yeah, I think it's great. And you can just bring it anywhere. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go do some interviews or whatever, it's great. So
yeah. So are you looking forward to Podcast Movement in March 28?
I am looking forward to that. And I haven't yet, I've been listening to some other podcasts, namely like James Altucher or Ask Altucher. And he was saying that if you listen to stand-up comedy, because he was giving tips on public speaking, he's given like thousands of talks and stuff like that. His biggest tip that I got, aside from the nervousness and all that stuff, was to listen to stand-up comedy, because they have this kind of rhythm that they've mastered to be on stage in front of all these people and to be self-deprecating, to be funny, and to just kind of mirror this rhythm that they have. Stand-up comedy people. What do you call them? Stand-up comics, right?
Yeah.
Comics. So that's cool. I listened to that today, and that was randomly. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I'm gonna do that.
Cool.
And but I don't know what I'm talking about yet, so I'll have to figure it out. Jared's supposed to let me know. I don't know. But yeah, that'll be cool. And then I'm really trying to make it to Podcast Movement in Dallas in April. So who else is going? Let me know in the comments. That'd be cool to kind of link up. Yeah.
And check her out.
We have another question.
Oh yeah. What's that?
This question comes from EMIPTV. Question for the show. Hope you get in time. What is the most effective advertising method to use online? What do you think? For the photography business.
For photography business, the most effective advertising is probably Facebook and Instagram. I've been getting several inquiries either from both of those social media platforms. It's the way how you speak the language for Facebook is what we do is that we post up one of the biggest highlight image from either that wedding or that engagement. That
you say Facebook?
Yeah, for Facebook. That catches the eye, and then we kind of tell our story, a very little catchphrase, just to kind of rival some little laughs here and there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. whatever describing that image. And that normally works, and we tag our clients in those images, and usually their relatives or their friends sees that image, and that's how we get potential clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
When people say, when they inquire through whatever, when they, on our contact page, they're saying that Facebook is how they found us?
Oh, I mean, we get them everywhere. We get Facebook,
What's the most?
The most is probably Facebook and Yelp.
Yelp. Okay. All right. Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
I heard something today listening again to that Ask Altucher podcast, and this dude who has like bajillion followers on Instagram and Twitter. And it just reinforces this thought of transparency. And so as you guys continue to market on Instagram, which I think is really winning the race among all of these social platforms, and he said something really interesting, and this is a current podcast that just came out. He said that Facebook is kind of like the Yellow Pages now.
Yeah.
It's becoming like you have to do it. It's coming like how annoying it is. It's something that you just have to be on nowadays, and that it's making itself kind of obsolete because it's not really catering to the wants of the people and of business people. And so a lot of these people are kind of moving over to Instagram and showing the behind the scenes raw footage, which is what I want us to do in our business. And that's it's annoying, right? Because you're like, I don't do that crap. I don't do selfies. I don't do this such and such. But B, you got to adjust to the times or you get left behind. So that is going to be our challenge as business owners, as people who market on social. Social is very big. We can't ignore what's going on. I encourage you guys to be really vigilant about what is going on. Pay attention to the trends. Even though it's a trend, you can't fight change. You can't fight what's going on in the world. You can either ride the wave or get swept up by it. All right. So that's today's show. Quick and easy. And I think we're getting ready to go to Maui in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to San Francisco this weekend.
Yeah. And good things.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you next time. Again, the lab. My name is Megan.
I'm Kevin.
And we're out.
And we out.
See ya.